And hello. All right. Looks like I have just my voice. Let me see here. Test the voice. Sounds good. Okay, sorry about that. Crazy. Okay, let's see. I gotta try a few things. So let's get this going. Right. And I gotta try that VLC. My VLC. Let's see if that's working. Let's put that over here now. Alright, that's that. And what's crazy is I test all this stuff first. Hi, Lady Pip. Sorry about that. I actually test this, right? 10 minutes before coming on, I play the video I'm gonna play. And I have no idea why that was echoing back. I might have had this open in another browser, YouTube, and I don't normally do that. So that might be what happened. So what I'll do is I'll play that song that I had before. I'll go ahead and play that out when we end this. But let me test it anyways. I want to see. Let me get that going. Yeah, craziest thing, but that's probably what it was. I had a second browser open and I probably had that on. So there's that song. I just want to give it a second so it pops up on the screen. Let's see. And again, let me test this. So, hi, Lady Pip. Hi, Philip. Thank you. Wasn't that the craziest thing? So yeah, okay, that popped up. Like I said, I'll play out on that song because I hadn't played that song in a long time. So yeah, let's see. And it kind of goes along with what we were talking about earlier. So sorry for that. Again, I think it was the second browser, and I think I had YouTube selected, and it popped up as soon as I started playing, and then I couldn't find it when I was trying to figure it out. So usually just best to stop and start over when that crazy stuff happens. But you know, when you're not too bright, you gotta expect this stuff. So, happy 4th of July to everyone. And this is Castle Nightshade, and we're so patriotic. And even you Brits, we're even though it's just the day we celebrate getting away from you Brits, I wish you a happy 4th, even though it may not mean much to you. And for anyone in the U.S., happy 4th of July. And we're flying the red, white, and blue again. And we're so happy. And we're going to have, I'm going to have some barbecues for the brawls here at the castle. Yeah, I'll treat them decent today. One day, they'll get treated nice because, our illegal alien program has been such a success, and our waters are full, so it's barbecue for everyone. Yeah, it's Cynthia made it. Yay! I had a little problem earlier, Cynthia, so I screwed up, but happy 4th of July, yes, indeed. We're so happy, so happy. Like I said, barbecue, the waters are full. Our immigration program has been so successful, so everyone's gonna have hamburgers and sausages. Yeah, it's like Soylent Green, hamburger and sausages at Castle Nightshade. It's like Soylent Green. It's people too. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little different meaning here. But I promise you, no legal aliens were harmed. Only illegal. So, hi, Alan. Alan joined us. Well, I don't know. Cynthia. Cynthia's my wonderful friend. She's this wonderful cat girl, and I call her, she's the queen of the Katsu tribe over here on X, and she's just marvelous. I don't have a lot of news today, Cynthia, but I'll be talking about Yaakov break today. I don't know if you caught the rest of what I've been talking about all week, but it's kind of interesting. It seems to explain so much of the evil that apparently runs this world nowadays. So, and they are for evil. That's what's so funny about it. That's just no doubt. Not that they're mistaken, but these people really are evil. So, what can we start out with today? Maybe we start out with the UK. I don't know how old this is, but I don't know if this is recent or old, but oh boy, this is a British member of Parliament called Carolyn Harris. So
she believes it's absolutely factual that if you're...
Let's see. Okay, go back here.
She believes it's absolutely factual that if you're born a man, you can't ever be a woman. She says it's a matter of fact.
Well, biologically, she's correct.
Yeah.
But there are human beings here that feel that they are a woman. And I'm not saying that they're right or they're wrong. What I'm saying is, when you introduce this level of hate into a debate, rationality goes out the window and it becomes just an adversarial argument. There is no right or wrong in this. And I don't think she's in any way contributed in a productive way to us getting to a point where we can have a responsible conversation around this.
Freaking lunatic, this represents you. So maybe what we're gonna find is the Frankists that we're gonna talk about. The Sabbateans and the Frankists are behind people like this. Maybe, huh? Or else they're mind control, which is going full force since 2016. It's hatred. It's hatred to say a man is a man and a woman's a woman. And she has the purple hair to tell you so. Can't you see? She's so loving because she has purple hair. Oh, this is so fun. It's so fun that, at least in the States, it's so fun to be able to laugh at this crap again, right? So I gotta give you credit that at least we can laugh at it now, at least our ex big time. And just call it crap, right? And Alan says back in. And I think your British doppelganger waited for a while. Now it's just be stupid. I think it was, I had a second internet browser open, and when I came on, it started playing to YouTube, and I couldn't find it. So it was best just to close out, because I couldn't figure it out right away. So yeah, just me being my incompetent self. Compared to you mortals, I am ancient compared to you mortals, so I'm beyond the boomer. So you gotta give me credit. You gotta give me credit that I could do this at all. Yeah. I figured out D-tubing. Huh? How many of you know how to do D-tubing? I'm beyond your grandma, your great-grandma. I'm beyond that. But I'm somehow figuring some of this out, just not very well. Yeah, I can't help it. And Wayne's, yes, that's how you had to do it, Wayne. I'm sorry. It's hard to say anything, but yeah, you had to check the new instance. So yeah, so thanks, Wayne. So Wayne figured it out, and Alan wasn't there. I need my IT guy, Alan. Yeah, Alan's my IT bro. So yeah, a lot of times he's not very good, and I get furious at him. So I call him Bob, and then I threaten him. Bob, into the sea you go. You gotta have fun, but then I get distracted and I forget all about that. So I'm gonna toss him in the sea. I swear. And Steven Arato says he's laughing. Oh, good. I'm glad you're laughing. You can't take me too serious, damn it. And Steven Arato, fly the stars and stripes. Yay! Hooray! And like I said, Somebody came back and like, yeah. Let's see. Oh, now it's not working again. Oh, there we go. I'm getting those DLC delays. So yeah, that's here at Castle Nightshade, Stars and Stripes Forever. Yeah, we're gonna have a great barbecue for the thralls. Yeah. Yes, sirree. It's gonna be wonderful. And what else do we got here? Yeah, it's just gonna be a mixed match. Oh yeah, let's stay in the UK. This was awful. Yeah, this guy, what, for a former Arsenal player, 4 rapes, gotta be all rapey, you know? He probably had all the money to be able to buy himself the escorts and all that, but now he's gotta be rapey. He's just got the rapiness in him, just terrible, right? Yeah. It's just weird, isn't it? How some people, they have everything and they're so self-destructive. And Stephen Rato says biology confuses them. Yeah, I think it's the purple dye, the pink dye and the purple dye. I think that once they put that in their hair, they go crazy. It confuses their hormone. Hormone blockers, or I don't know, it's new hormones, like retard hormones. No, something gets in their heads. It just seems how crazy. Any other side, that's a lunatic who's talking, but she's a member of parliament in the UK. And J.K. Rowling is hateful for saying, she supports all the liberal stuff except for this, just the trans stuff, right? And oh, she's evil because men are men and women are women, and you can't change that, even if you get that operation. No matter what David Laney said about mandatory services. It's so hard not to bring that up, because that was so retarded for somebody to say. Or mentally challenged. I'm sorry, I'm insulting people who have birth defects or who didn't get enough oxygen while they were being born. Mentally challenged, severely mentally handicapped people like David Laney. So, and Philip says during civilizational retreat, androgyny comes to the fore. Well, yeah, the next person we're going to talk about, and we might even slightly mention, because I don't want to confuse anybody, but we might slightly mention the trio icon Kabbalah and androgyny. Yeah, a little bit of that we'll get into there, but let's see. And Lady Tiff says, I am the most untech person ever. I have to test a lot too. I can't laugh a lot. But can you imagine me? Imagine me, an ancient one, and I can't, I'm trying. I got a VTuber. That's pretty cool for somebody my age. So, at the same time, I give myself a little credit. Yeah, I even got some animation programs. I can do some of that. It wasn't easy though. And I'm still boomering it up every once in a while. You know, it says, no, not again, that old story. Football players aren't paid to think. No. Well, he's not thinking with his brain, right? It's all rapey. Oh, get out of that. Elaine says someday that story will be forgotten, Bob. Yeah, so when you hear me talking about Bob into the sea, that's my name for Alan. Yeah, because that's what he's gonna do someday. He's gonna be bobbing in the sea, I swear. Lady Kip said, I look into the LGD thing. It took me back to a bloke called John Milk. It seems all to have started with him. Okay. Fascinating. Well, I hate to tell you, in the occult circles, this seems to be what a lot of it was looking for. And today we're gonna end up talking about the Frankus. So Jakob Frank. So we'll talk about him today. Like I say, I don't have a lot today as far as the news. which is nice. It's nice that on the 4th of July, the world isn't going all crazy. I mean, the 5th, they can take off. But, of course, the French, both world wars were enough, so, they gave us the Statue of Liberty. And, so, to honor, our 4th of July, this French artist had to do this.
Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is...
So mocking us for wanting to take care of illegal immigration. No one said anything about the legal migrants, like the ones who came to Ellis Island, because that was the legal way to do it back then. And then for over 50 years, we shut down immigration. A lot of people don't realize that. From like the 20s or the 30s to like right into the 70s, to the start of the 70s, we had it locked down tight. But no. So whatever. Yeah. So, I don't know. You want your statue back, Prince? I don't care. Yeah, I'm not gonna say there's so much else we could say, right? But yeah, whatever. That seems like a French thing to do, right? A terrible, bit of news here in the U.S. There's some flooding happening in Texas. Let's see. Yeah, Kerrville, Texas. So, yeah. Just terrible. It's sad. That's somebody's car.
Get out! Get out of your car!
Oh no, a person's in the car. Oh no, I'm gonna turn it off there. Just terrible. That doesn't end well usually. Oh, hey, let's see. I think the rest is just... Oh no, yeah, this was interesting. Let's see. That is scary. Yeah, can you imagine that? Being, yeah, that's pretty much hopeless. Ooh, yeah. So, glad to cut it off there. This is some, craziness in, New York City. Where are the police officers? It makes you wonder.
There's a guy in this sort of thing. Good use of hands-free, I got my coffee, but see? There's a guy in there that likes to be stepped on. So I'm glad I captured that for everyone. He's got a few more folks walking on him. I don't know what he's doing under there. And then I'm gonna go step on him for you all, so you could see it firsthand, I guess, right? Well, if he wants to be stepped on. Okay, kind of reflecting on what I just did, it seems like I might have indirectly pleasured someone from my walking. It sounds like I'm doing God's work, but that was also a huge hazard and borderline illegal, so do not condone.
Yeah, that's a problem. He enjoyed it. Weird, but where are the cops, right? How long has that been down there? It's easier, I guess, to hand out tickets or something. I don't know, but whatever. Obviously a nut job, right? A person mentally ill. I mean, him down there wanting people to step on him. So, the cops could help him, right? If you look at it that way, the cops by stepping in could help the sicko. So, word says there were a pair of male twins that the famous serological treated turned one into a girl. Okay. Well, my understanding is that kind of operation, but it makes sense, for children who are born, that's interesting, too, but, children that are born, with malformed genitals, right? Which happens. Yeah, I don't know how many births, but it happens. So a common thing to do is to basically for the doctors turn them into, they're still not girls, but to turn them into a girl, let's say quote unquote, right? The genitals are damaged. It's a genetic defect, most likely, and some people are born with almost like a mixture of both, but usually, be totally defective. So obviously to try for a doctor to make a penis is difficult, obviously. Where the hole isn't, but it doesn't make them, where they'll be able to function down there, right? So, and there might be more things wrong with it too. And then there's other defects and stuff. Well, I don't want to necessarily go into it, but of the ones, an interesting thing, and this goes back like almost 10 years or so, they did a study of the ones that are genetically boys but had the defect, and the doctors turned them into, the easy way, obviously, the only way they had, into so they could try to live as a girl. Of these people, they discovered overwhelmingly, because their parents tend to bring them up thinking that they're girls, and then they've done a study on these people, and they almost all who were genetically males all believed that there was something wrong with them, that they were males and that they weren't females, but they had a reason to because it was genetic. And so, yeah, that's fascinating. But in this case, this isn't people who are totally, nothing genetically wrong with them, but mentally, a lot of it has to do with brainwashing. A lot of it has to do with on Reddit, with these mentally ill and often autistic boys and stuff, convincing that they're females and stuff. And it's usually really evil people, it turns out, on Reddit and stuff, that want them to be harmed because of their miserable lives and stuff. It's really sick, some of the crap that's going on. But yeah, so he might be dead. No, the guy in the sack was moving. So did the guy like in the rug or whatever? So he set himself up that he stepped on. So very weird indeed. But obviously, he's one of those people who's acting out and can't help himself. But where's the cops? So, this is a fun video. Let me play this. What some dogs can do, right? Yeah, some dogs, but your dog. I love that. I don't know how old that video is. Let's see. Let me get it back up here. This is what some dogs can do. And this is your dog. Wonderful. I love that. That's just wonderful. And this is just a nice picture. This is from Johnny Money was the American sexologist who invented trans with the twin boys and gender surgery. Yeah, like children who were born with defects, you can understand it. Though it's kind of sad if the parents didn't bother to tell them or something. But those people you can understand then growing up and being confused. And usually they don't have working genitals anyways, right? So you can understand that. Back then, just like now, they can't fix that kind of damage, right? So that's the sad part, and it's something that happens to people. To a certain out of so many thousands births, some will have totally deformed genitalia. It's very sad, right? So Some people are suffering with this. So that's understanding. It doesn't make them trans, though. It makes them they had a birth defect. There's a big difference. So all the rest of this other stuff now is perversion. Like I said, even those people, they can't be given working genitals if the birth defect is too damaging, because if they can't make those parts, right? So yeah. Well, and then we can go into other things, but other problems that people have, that still allow them to function, right? But what's that? I'm no expert, obviously, but I thought this was a lovely picture from the International Space Station. So, well, let's see. Oh, okay. This is over in Mexico. And this is what's called a sprite. And it could be either some lightning actually goes from the ground up to the sky, and I think that's what this is. So, isn't that really interesting? So, yeah, sometimes there'll be static. It could be like from a volcano or something. There could be so much built up electrical charge. It will shoot up from the ground up into the sky. So, I thought that was really cool. Let's see. What dog do you have? Oh, I have a Cerberus. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Do I have this picture? Yeah, the puppy. Oh, you would love him, Lawrence. Here, let me show you. I have Puppy. Oh, I just adore Puppy. So, yeah, I have a Cerberus. It's so wonderful. He's so cute. Oh, and you toss him the ball. Yeah, you toss him the ball, and it's just so fun. All three hands want that ball so badly. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, yeah. Oh, isn't he cute? So I just adore Puppy. Don't forget Del T. Yeah, Del T kind of just wandered on. Yeah, he's our latest. And I only knew about Del T, because he just wandered on our land. He got lost, because his mouth is so foul. He's such a sarcastic little bastard, Del T. Yeah, Del T's a Chihuahua, and his last owners couldn't take his smart ass talk, and they abandoned him. So he found his way onto my lands here at Castle Nightshade, and Puppy felt sorry for him and brought him to me. And and so now I have a talking Chihuahua. Yeah, Del T. So I have two dogs now, along with Kitty, my lovely Black Panther. Oh, Kitty is just adorable. So, yes, I tell you, Cerebuses, they make the best pets in the world. And plus he fire comes out all three of his mouths. So if we ever have a rat problem here in Castle Nightshade, he can burn those little bastards out. Wonderful. Yeah, I just adore him. I just love throwing the ball. It's just wonderful. It's so cute. Oh, okay, I can go on and on. How cute he is. So, alright. I guess that's all the stuff I had that I could kind of call this. So, I guess it's kind of good. It's kind of good not to have too busy of a day, news day. So now we're gonna get talking about the Jakob Frank. Let's see. Let me get his picture up here. Jakob Frank. So this ties in to let's see. We can say from like day one we talked about the Carpocratians. We talked about antinomianism. Antinomianism means against God and breaking holy immorality, holy laws and moral laws. Jews talk about it. All Christian sects, Catholicism, they'll talk about that. In fact, a lot of the heretics the church would also say that they were antinomian against God's laws, or in this case, the church's laws. And the Protestants would say that about people. In that case, they would say, they're against anything that was in the Bible, and specifically the Ten Commandments. So, and then we talked about Carpocrates, who was a Gnostic teacher in the 2nd century, the 100s. And basically, it was salvation through impurity, basically, breaking all the laws, right? And we don't know much about the actual writings, but the early church fathers said the Carpocratians were just vile, right? Whether it was Father George or incest, orgies, any kind of perversion, because that was the whole idea. The way to God in their beliefs was through breaking all the laws to show that you weren't part, right? And so with the Gnostics, it would probably have to be to show you weren't enslaved by the I can't think of the term, the kind of the anti-God that some of the Gnostic sects believed in. So to show that you weren't enslaved, you didn't follow the law, so you were above. And through this sinning, you would ascend to God, or to Godhood, or the presence of God. So, yeah, my tips laughed at that, and Lawrence said, Cerberus had many heads. Well, mine has 3, Lawrence. I think 3 is enough. But they are cute. Each one's so cute and adorable. Oh, yeah. Squeak like a little puppy when they're playing. So cute. And so then yesterday we talked about a Jewish Messiah. Not just self-proclaimed. He had other followers. And his name was Sabbatai Zevi. So we talked about him the other day. And Sabbatai Zevi, because of different beliefs, and what was also interesting about Sabbatai Zevi, people who are into the Kabbalah, which is a holy teaching in Judaism, right? Even to this day, it's considered holy, though a lot of the Kabbalists would say, a lot of the rabbis would say, don't get into the Kabbalah until you're over 40. You're a mature individual, less likely to be given into flights of fancy, right? But a lot of the Kabbalists were, around the 17th century, were expecting a Jewish Messiah. In fact, through their numerology, which in those teachings is considered holy, right? Numerology, all right, okay, whatever. But they were expecting a Jewish Messiah. And along came, and I'll put it, do I get his picture? So along came Sabbatai Zevi, and he first proclaimed himself as the Jewish Messiah, and it worked out at the dates that was to be expected, right? So here comes this guy, but then he had other people. And this happened in the Middle East, what we call the Middle East. I know you in the UK call it Asia. So, yeah, we kind of distinguish it as the Middle East. But this was the Ottoman Empire. This was the Ottoman Empire, the 17th century. And in 1666, Sabbatai, along with this guy, who kind of acted like a John the Baptist, or Elijah, right? He acted like an Elijah figure, John the Baptist figure for Christian, but this was Jews. This was a movement among Jews. He proclaimed, and he was in this area of the Middle East, Gaza, Jerusalem, Nation of Gaza, proclaimed Sabbatai as the Messiah. And this spread throughout, I'm not going to go any further, but this spread throughout even Eastern Europe, big time. It was huge that the Messiah was here. The Messiah was here. And it's Sabbatai Zevi, right? So we talked about Sabbatai. Sabbatai died I think 1691, I think it was, he passed away. And, but he became supposedly under threat. Before that, he became a Muslim convert. That was kind of fake all along, but he became a Muslim convert. And under the Sultan's threat, he either convert or die. So Sabbatai converted, though I still think it was part of these guys' plan, because part of the beliefs were the real Jewish Messiah transcends all law. He's the fulfillment of the law, of the Jewish law, all Jewish law, in the case for the Jews, dietary, the Ten Commandments, everything. So it was just basically the antinomianism we talked about. So breaking all the laws, calling fast days, feast days, all that stuff. And so after he died, everyone was crushed. When he in Europe, most people were crushed by the fact that he became a Muslim convert. But it did end with the antinomianism very well, right? And Sabbatai was even for a while awarded by the Sultan. He was given a pay, and he was even like the Sultan's footman. He was given a title. So that actually fit in very well with transgressing everything, right? So, 100 years later, after the death of Sabbatai Zevi, comes along this man that we just mentioned earlier, is Jakob Frank, and that's not his real name. I'll go over that. But after Zevi's death, all the original followers that kept following him, right? And a lot of it was pretending to be Muslims, but actually being part, basically it's a cult, right? So part of this cult, they called themselves the Sabbatians. And in Turkey, what's now modern day Turkey, back in the Ottoman Empire, the days of, they called themselves the Dhammi, right? So they kept on with Sabbatai's teaching, and they were a sect of Sabbatians. So that's what these people are also called today. So now we move over 100 years later, and let me see, I got some stuff written down here. Oh, let's see. Comes this person that became known as Jakob Frank was born, it's a Polish name, Jakob Leibowitz. That sounds pretty good. In 1726, Jakob Leibowitz, who becomes Frank later on, was born to a Jewish family in Karolakwa, Poland. It's in an area called Podolia, Poland, but it's now the Ukraine. So all this stuff gets changed around. But interesting. So for now on, we'll just call him Jakob Frank, but his father was a Sabbatian. So, and I didn't find much more. I didn't look that hard. This is just to be an overview. This isn't to be a big study. So if you're interested, hopefully you'll do a study too. His father was Sabbatian. Now, was he Dhammi? I kind of get the idea that he might have been from the Ottoman Empire, and the father moved to this area that was Poland, which is now the Ukraine, right? So later on, Jakob himself, it's so interesting. It all ties back to the Dhammi appears. He becomes a traveling merchant. So his father apparently was well-to-do and had made his money probably also as a textile merchant. So became a traveling merchant in textiles and precious stones. And he often visited the Ottoman territories, which would be like Anatolia, where modern day Turkey is, that peninsula. So yeah, So where the name Frank comes from, that's the name that that the church gave Eastern Europeans, right? So his father may have been from from Smyrna, which is now Izmir. May have been from that region. Again, part of modern Turkey. Well, it's part of modern Turkey now. Might have moved out, but because his son moves back and he comes from the east, he was, I would imagine it was mockingly. He's a Frank from the Frank tribes, of the Europeans. So to a Turk, back then, if you come from those areas, you're a Frank. I thought that was really interesting. So, and Smyrna was a hotbed originally. That's where Sabbatai claimed himself originally as by himself his first time as the Jewish Messiah. And so there still was the Danme, the Sabbatians, who were from the original families that stayed with Sabbatai, right? So he's in there. He apparently he's following different leaders of Sabbatians in Smyrna, which is now Izmir. Osman Baba was a Sabbatian leader, and he witnessed his wedding in 1752. And so then by 1755, in the Podia residence, Frank comes back. And so, so Frank then starting to proclaim himself as being the incarnation of Sabbatai Zevi. And therefore, he's now the Jewish Messiah. And he's very Sabbatian. So it isn't just antinomianism, he's breaking everything. Father-daughter incest, any perversion you can get into. Again, if you're the Messiah, Jewish Messiah, you're above the law. So he starts bringing this back and proclaiming being the Messiah, and starts acting like this. And finally, this is really interesting. Let's see. He's denounced by the local rabbis in 1756. He has, Jakob Frank has followers now, but the local rabbis get a rabbinical court together, and I don't know the exact term, but it's like excommunicating, and they kicked him out. And one of the things supposedly that they found him doing is they had a meeting of the Sabbatians that were following Frank, and what they had a naked woman who they called the Sakana, and they were dancing around her as she was naked. She was at least naked by the top, but also they were proclaiming that she's the Sakana. And I'll explain what this means. Here, let me see. Is anybody saying anything? I'll go ahead and read any posts before we go into what this means. And you'll see why it's very blasphemous. But let's see. A variety of Jewish followers, disciples, and believers in Sabbatai, and an Ottoman Jewish rabbi, and so forth. Yeah, Stephen Arato's thumbs up. Learn something new every day. Well, I'm glad, Stephen. And if this interests you, it's something that you can study on your own. I'm gonna look into it, especially the Frankist part. It sounds, oh my. It sounds like it's in the world still today. And Lady Pip says she's listening. So, okay, let me get back to that. They're dancing around this woman, calling her the Sakana. Shekinah. I'm sorry, the Shekinah. Darn it, the Shekinah. So, what the word Shekinah means is God's special presence. You'll see why this is so blasphemous. The they were calling this woman with her bare breasts the Shekinah, not Sakana, Shekinah. And probably in Hebrew, it's probably pronounced even different, obviously. So this would be like an anglicized version of that word. But in the Bible, right? So this is why it was so blasphemous. In the Bible, you had God's holy presence in the temple, and you didn't have it, by the time the temple was destroyed, especially with the first temple, when the Babylonians destroyed the first temple. But the location in the Jewish temple where the Shekinah was, you had the Ark of the Covenant, you had the 2 cherubim, right? On the top of the Ark of the Covenant. I should have showed a picture, I'm sorry. I'm taking for granted that people know as much as I do. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't show you a picture. Maybe I could quickly find a picture. But on top, you had the cherubim with their wings spread out. And then there was, on top, was the, I forgot, the seat of mercy. There's a special name for it. But on the seat was the Shekinah, the special presence of God. Right? So, could you see why rabbis would be aghast? One thing, Jews dancing around a woman with bare breasts, right? Another thing, dancing around a woman with bare breasts and calling her the Shekinah, the special presence of God. Wow. Oh, the mercy seat. Yeah, I think it's called the mercy seat. But that's where the special presence of God in the Jewish temple was supposed to be, while the Ark of the Covenant still resided in the Jewish temple. Whenever that may have ended, and that's another story. So, okay. So, apparently this was one of the acts, and they had all other acts, antinomian, carpal creation, that these people were into. 'Cause Frank, big time, anything he could break, he was breaking it, as declaring himself the Jewish Messiah, because in I think the book of Elijah, I don't remember what the thing, but supposedly it was prophesied that the Messiah would be like this, right? So they were thrown out of, or I don't know, they had pitchforks and fire, but Frank and his followers had to leave the Podia area of what is now Ukraine. So, and then he went to Awania, which I have no idea if that's still named that. And let's see. I received revelations from heaven. Okay, so in this area in Awania, proclaiming himself as a direct successor to Sabbatai Zevi and another teacher, Atman Baba. I'm sorry, I didn't look that up. He assured his adherents that he had received revelations from heaven. Very, very convenient, isn't it? Right? It's very, very convenient and very cult-like, right? These revelations now called for the conversion of Frank and his followers to the Christian religion. And so, in 1759, negotiations began with the Frankists to convert to Roman Catholicism. And also higher representatives of the Polish Church at the same time. So they became, at least in name, they became Roman Catholics. Of course, also, instead of saying Jewish teaching, let's say Kabbalistic Sabbatean, which were more Jewish, obvious than they are Roman Catholic, right? But yeah, so they kept that though also, right? And some Protestants wanted them along, and apparently later on, yeah, they were open, because part of their later teachings may have been pervert, subvert, take over, and become whatever you want, basically, and say whatever you want. And this is interesting because, of all people, and of all people that seem to be that, I can't think of their name, often called the richest people, richest family in the world. But it turns out that no, we're not Jews, we're Roman Catholics, right? Almost broke the whole financial system in England and how they became strong. I forget their names, but they're obviously Jews, but are they actually part of this Frankish movement? And so, all right, so now they become quote unquote Roman Catholics, and after rabbis got rid of them. Frank himself was baptized in Lvov, I don't know, an area what is now Poland, I guess, and again in Warsaw, with King Augustus III as his godfather. So these people had a lot of power, probably a lot of money, right? Which gave him power. And Frank's baptismal name was Joseph. So Joseph Frank he becomes, right? And in the course of 1 year, 500 individuals were converted to Christianity at Lvov. I don't know how to pronounce that, Lvov. I think that's still in Poland today. And by 1790, 26,000 Jews were recorded baptized in Poland. But they were Frankists, actually. And like I say, subverting. Part of the doctrine is to subvert. And as you can imagine, they were still viewed as with suspicion. And on February 6, 1760, Frank was brought into by a Roman Catholic Church tribunal on a charge of heresy. And he was convicted of teaching heresy and imprisoned in a monastery. Czestochowa, I have no idea how to pronounce it, but I'll show you a picture of it. How would that be? For 13 years. And here's the monastery that he was imprisoned in. He wasn't burned at the stake, though, right? So the 18th century, they didn't burn you at the stake. You know, from being basically a neo-carpocration. Yeah, the Rothschilds, yes. So I would not doubt that the Rothschild, Roman Catholic, are actually Frankists. And why do they, so this would be interesting. Found what you are reading from the Wikipedia. Yes, you can find most of this. Just be careful, because according to Wikipedia, all this ended, right? So the Rothschild, so we'll get into that. It really does look like this is never ending, but they changed their names, so they'll seem like, we'll get into that. And Stephen Ratto, Catholic here. Well, so for 13 years he stayed there, but his movement grew. He became to be thought of as a holy man, and more holy. They started putting out writings. We'll go over that, and let's see. We'll go over that. Like I said, this is just meant to be as an overview. I've got so much more to study and to look at. Let's see. I gotta find this. Let me try to find his, some of his study. Okay, some of his beliefs. And father-daughter incest and stuff, right? It's really divergent. So they came up with a book called The Book of Words of the Lord. And it's supposed to be very simple, mixing in teachings from the Torah and the Zohar, which the mystical Jewish book where you get Kabbalah, the Kabbalah teachings start with the Zohar. So it's a mixture of that, a mix of both tales, in very simple language. And supposedly done, obviously to make it easier, to spread their teachings. At least during the early time, it looks like, Jacob there had a, like, they had the outer circle, and then they had an inner circle, and of teaching. It seems very secret society-ish, doesn't it? So they had an inner circle of brothers and sisters, who were, you know, probably hardcore, basically neo, carpocration, you know, subvert everything basically, right? To get holy. And back then it was at first only to the brothers he gave the closest teaching. It almost, can you see? If you know anything about Scientology, you know, like, not that those brothers and sisters, right? Or that only males got the better teaching, but you're brought into a circle and shown supposedly more, and then you find out it's all this, space god, and everyone was thrown into, a volcano, and you're all reincarnations of those souls. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that a lot of this stuff, secret societies at this time and everything, were becoming really, prevalent throughout Europe, the Americas. So at this time, the brothers got even more of the word, right? The inner word. And then he came up with, and it's so convenient, right? He came up with the teaching of the Virgin. Let's see, I guess we'll go into, okay, so it's very convenient, but he brought in this idea of, and you could tie in, the Virgin Mary, you could tie in, like, the Black Virgin of, around the Poland and stuff, but he brought in as a second hand to himself, right? One of the teaching was, so to be the second hand of himself, and of course, who is the actual virgin for Frank? Well, his daughter, of course. So she's his second hand. Listen to his second hand, who is actually the virgin, the special female, his daughter Eve. And so it makes you wonder also about, again, the perversion, the father-daughter incest, right? So, but also she becomes like a figure. And again, these are really Jews, right? The Mary image, the mother of Jesus. And now Eve is officially the glory of God. But she can now also carry on for, Jacob when he passes away. Ta-da! It's wonderful how that works out, right? So he elevates her. And let's see. And Alan says, Crusader here with the red cross. And Lady Ted, have to go to work. Bye, everyone. I will listen later. Take care. Take care, Lady. Lady Ted, you're wonderful. Have a wonderful weekend. And Alan says, bye, Lady Ted. And religious cult does survive into the present. Alan says, I think so. Because it explains so much. You know? So, you know, they become Roman Catholics, but no, behind the scenes they're perverting everything. And guess what? Probably the Vatican too. Yeah, probably, right? Because these people ended up with lots of money and in powerful positions. So another belief, and again, you have to go into Kabbalah. You'd have to look at Kabbalah. So I'm going to show you an image. We're not going to get into it because it just gets too confusing. But this image is called the Tree of Life. And it's like the beginning of Kabbalah and understanding it. Quickly. Let me point out here. So you start here with what's called Malkuth and go up to Jesed, but there's then three branches. There's the right-hand path. Let's go Nazat, Hesed, and Chakma, or Hakma. And the right-hand path is male. Okay? Then there's the left-hand path. Female. What is that? Han, Geburah, Bina, and both paths lead to Kether. And then beyond that, I forget. It's basically the glow and the actual presence of God, though it's not referred to as the Shekinah. So above that would be God, Godhood itself. But there's teaching, then there's a center path, right? And going up to Teferet, and then there's this hidden thing, it's called Da'at. It's hidden. But, in Western occultism, they're also big into the Kabbalah. So the Tree of Life is in there. So, a lot would say, what you want to do is you want to go up the center path. And part of the center path takes you through this hidden, these are all manifestations. They're called Sephiroths. So Malkuth, Hesed, these are called, Sephiroth, in your manifestation. And you want to go up through the center. Remember I've mentioned before? So what's the center? Male and female. Remember I told you a lot of occult circles, everything gets back to this holy androgyne. This idea of male and female, or losing both male and female, by mixing them both. So I just want to quickly show you that. Well, in the center here is a hidden Sephiroth called Da'at. So it gets so complicated, doesn't it, right? So one of Frank's teachings is that his is basically the whole goal is the Da'at. And he put they're calling it cosmic cognizance. So for him, this was the most important Sephiroth, and through where you were actually going to get to Kether. And since the Da'at is concealed, he said that through him it becomes unhidden, right? And again, it's a lot of it is very manipulative, isn't it? Right? You know, this is me. I know it. So come to me. I'll teach you how to do it. And supposedly it's through sex and sex rights. Let's just say sex magic. And there's a big, even in Western occultism, there's a big thing with sex magic, right? So again, just because you see this doesn't mean make it true or anything. So I just wanted to show you that. And so he's going to tell you. So if you join the Frankist movement, he's going to tell you what the Da'at, this one right here, is the hidden one, the hidden Sephiroth. So, and Alex says that's in the book of Black Art. Yeah, a lot of occult schools are big time into Kabbalah. So if you want to do studies of Western occultism, whatever you want to talk about, Western magic or whatever, you'd get into Kabbalah. So it's really interesting that ties into Jewish mysticism, which is the Kabbalah. So again, I'm just showing you this. I'm not asking you to believe it, right? So, and you can go into a whole study. So that's the basic ideas, right? And you can even get into like with their beliefs in the Virgin, the V, they kind of create a Trinity, but we won't go into that. So, let's see, do I have, right here? Oh yeah, okay. And let's see, he ends up getting out of prison. And let's see, and okay, Frank is later released by a Russian general. So apparently the Russians at this time were occupying these areas of Poland and then Ukraine, by a Russian general. And let's see, as he grew older, obviously, because he set her up, his daughter took more and more power, right? Because she's the glory of God. He's very cultish. And so later on, he changed his name. What did he call himself? He gave himself a fancy name and title. He called himself the Baron of Offenbach. And again, going by, look at me, I'm a Roman Catholic and all of that. But he had powerful people would come to see him. One was the future Tsar of Russia, Paul I, visit him, along with the leader of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, Joseph II. Maria Theresa once visited him. And, but they kept doing their thing, and eventually most people took offense to what they were doing. So, in 1791, he passed away, and shortly after, his daughter, who led the movement, passed away. And what's really strange is now, everywhere you look, so, they're dead set to try to tell you that Frankism is dead. So let's see. Where did I have that? Do I have this clip out live here? Oh, I had this one book, and it basically gave a date for Frankism, and they had it ending, I think, like in 1816. And it's kind of like, really? How do you know that all the Frankists were gone by that time? But some are saying that the Frankists basically on purpose went underground. And one of the ways to subvert everything, change your name. So one thing they couldn't deny is that the Frankists were part of the French Revolution, the Jacobites. It doesn't mean they started it. Doesn't mean they were running it. Oh yeah, right here I have the Frankist movement, 1755 to 1860, 1816. 1860. So yeah, as it had just ended, right in 1860. There was no more Frankists. It seems like they're almost trying to push that on you. But there's famous Frankists that got involved. He changed his name like 4 times, and he moved from like one movement, whether it was the Illuminati or that, to another, and he ended up being a Jacobite, the people who overthrew the King of France. And so they can't deny that, so he'll get mentioned. But others are saying that these people and maybe Rothschilds are among them, changed their names, changed their religions, whatever they had to do, and they're proud to be behind the scene. And everything is subverting, and everything is perversion. The antinomianism, the neo-Carpocratian ideas. But there is another thing, and again, I'm going to go quickly. And I have no proof of this. I don't think Candace Owen has proof of this, because this is usually why I started talking about it. But there's another side. I'm just going to show it and just mention it. There's another side, and again, this is by the Jews, Holy Kabbalah. So, there's the tree of life. I showed you that, right? I showed you that. This over here, that's the tree of life. Well, there's also the tree of death. And every perversion under the sun. And this is also Kabbalah. This also could be studied. So this also means that you can be part of this, right? And basically, it's called the tree of death, and it's a mirror, and it's supposed to be like the exact mirror of the tree of life. So, and what's funny is, you read somebody's name like Samael, and it's like, hey, have you heard Hollywood movies using these terms? You've all heard of Lilith, right? Supposedly the first wife of Adam, right? Yeah, she's crazy, I tell you, Paul. Okay, so Belial, you've heard these terms. You'd be amazed if you listen, especially if you watch certain Hollywood movies, that they're using these names. So what happened? And this is completely darkness, right? We're not going to go into it. Completely dark. You should see it'll give you goosebumps, because the terms to explain these are just like it's just gross, really gross. So this leads to, right, duality. God, and this leads to Satan, or Moloch, probably as the Jews would say. And you gotta remember, I hate to tell you, in the Bible, there isn't just one God. There's put no other gods above me. So, to be a Jew, you follow, right, Yahweh. Don't put another God above. It's not claiming there are no other gods. At least in Judaism. So, duality, good and evil. So this would be the side of pure evil. And so, basically, down here is total blackness, not total white. And so, what would Frankus, if everything is to pervert and everything, what would Frankus get into? And why all the gaslighting? You must know by now that apparently certain people with all the same twisted beliefs own all of the mainstream news media, and a lot of people would like to say the Jews, but what happens if it's this movement actually? And their families now could look like the most blue-blooded Protestant American family. But yeah, their family might actually have been and they were encouraged to change their name, and they got involved in everything, every secret society or whatever. And these people would have fit the bill. They would own the news media, and now they would be teaching you all kind of perversions. What's right is wrong. What is wrong is right. Light is dark. Male is female. Female is male. It's being done on purpose. Somebody believes they have enough power to push this crap. So, I just thought it looks like this would be interesting to study. Yeah, so it's very interesting. They'd be manipulating everybody. And you'd have no idea yet. It'd even be hard to look up some of these people's families. But so that's what I'm talking about here. I thought it was interesting, and I don't know if anyone else finds it. So, yeah, I'll just go ahead and play us out. Does anyone have any questions, or is there anything else that you want to talk about? Let me know. I'll give you a few seconds, and then I'll go ahead and close out. It's just me and you, Alan. I think I really grossed out too many people. So, okay. All right, let me go ahead and right here. Thank you, Alan. I hope you know I'm just talking about this. I'm not trying to tell people to become pranksters or anything. So I think the real ones that you have to be in the family. And so they'd have some very shallow bloodlines by now. So, okay. I'm gonna go ahead and play us out with one of my second song ever. I think it fits in with these people very well. So, here we go. Good night, Alan. Have a great evening.
Dark night, silent cries, your shadows my disguise. You dance with the power of the moon, evil's grace in you. Democrats rule the night, with darkness oh so bright. Your cunning way, your might, my secrets take flight.
Thank you for hanging around, Wayne. I'm sorry if this was a little heavy.
Your whispers call my name in shadows of the
Bye, Cynthia. Love you. You're wonderful.
the night so well in this wicked spell. The Democrats so sly in the midnight sky. Evil blooms with grace in their hidden face. The Democrats so sly in the midnight sky. Evil blooms with grace in their hidden